Alright legends, we got a video here from CoolGameStuff. This is his top 100 Super Nintendo games of all time. Let's have a look at the list and see if we agree. Final Fight probably deserves a 100 spot. Missing a level in the character, but was a fun port, grew up playing it. Bit sluggish compared to the arcade version, okay. Rented Buster's Adventure here, or whatever it is, Buster Bust Loose. Probably only played it a couple times, was fine. Okay, 98 Uni Races. So, this game's okay. This is kind of like proof not to judge a book by its cover. Because I used to always see the box and think it was bland as crap. And then when I finally played this game, I was like, this is a pretty cool time trial racing game. Obviously, you wouldn't pay full price for it, but if it was in a bargain bin, this one was worth a shot. It's a good game, Uni Racing. And what are we, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3? Yeah, I didn't have the greatest time with Mortal Kombat and Super Nintendo. I liked it on Genesis or PlayStation. Probably a good pick. Street Fighter Alpha 2. I mean, Street Fighter Alpha 2 is going to be amazing in anything, right? But obviously a downgrade in graphics and resolution on Super Nintendo. Just missing a little something from the arcade version. But that being said, it still looks pretty nice. Runs well. What do we got? Top Gear. I'm surprised that this is so low. This is like one of the pinnacles of racing games on the system. So I would have put that higher. Adventures of Batman and Robin. You know what? Nice looking game. Fun game to play, but hard as balls. And then we got Super Turrican. You know, this is one of those games that has like a cult following. Don't know much about the franchise myself. Tried it. Thought it was fun to play, but too hard to advance too far in. Let me know your experiences on this one, Super Turrican. It's on Sega Genesis too, I think. I think there's actually a mod on that makes it easier. Might have to check it out. Super Double Dragon. Yeah, I would say that this is an appropriate place for Super Double Dragon. Just an above average beat 'em up. Empire Strikes Back. Dude, I could barely pass a level in this Star Wars game. After the New Hope, they just get so difficult for me. Blackthorn. Wasn't this like another kind of like flashback style game? Sort of like, I guess you could say, I wouldn't even know how to explain this. Kind of like I guess you could say a puzzle platformer almost. I mean, I've tried it. I don't know too much about it, but when I played it, it gave me the flashback vibe. So anyway, we'll move on from there. Let me know your experiences of Blackthorn anyway. There are people that quite like that game. Super Bomberman. I'm a little bit overwhelmed with like how many Bomberman entries there are. I wouldn't even know where to start, what the best one is. Sunset Riders. Okay, you know what? I'm surprised that this has barely cracked the top 100. However, the pinnacle of this game for me will always be the arcade version. But the Super Nintendo version was a great Western port. It was a fun game to play. Yeah. Tormano forever, mate. We got Sparks. This is like Rocket Knight and Super Nintendo. Wasn't really a big fan of the 16-bit platformers on Super Nintendo. I guess Sparks is okay. Stunt Race. I mean, this game looks amazing, but I hate these. This is an FX chip game, right? I hate the frame rate. It's so low. Maximum Carnage. And look, the music and the graphics on this Spider-Man beat 'em up are way better on the Super Nintendo, but when it comes to gameplay, for some reason on the Sega Genesis version, I always last longer, do better. So this one looks better, but the Sega one plays better. However, probably a good entry. I mean, this is the top 100. We're just scratching the surface. Super Tennis. This was actually a wonderful and highly competitive sports game with kind of like a World Cup circuit system. It was very good. Now we have Super Star Wars. I just played this one earlier today. And I'm surprised that this is so low on the list because when it comes to like movie-based video games, this one follows like the movie as perfectly as it can for a 16-bit console. Like, the only movie game that I think that's better than this, or just as good in the same generation, is probably Aladdin on Sega Genesis. This was a wonderful movie game. It's a shame to see it so low. Definitely deserves to be in the top 100. Killer Instinct. I don't know if this is any in particular order. I think it is. I really think this guy is doing it in order. Killer Instinct, think it should be higher. Death and Return of Superman. That's a bit of a stretch saying Death and Return of Superman is better than Killer Instinct. Look, this is an above average beat 'em up, probably one of the best Superman experiences you're gonna have, and that's kind of sad. Enemies are a little bit generic, however, using Superman is fun with all his abilities and everything. Worth a shot. I don't think this game is a standout, but it's perfectly fine. Maybe a stretch, but I'll accept it. What do we got? Pilot Wings. Oh, man, I wish this game was... you know, a lot of people argue that this is like a tech demo for the Super Nintendo, but that was a great flight sim. And speaking of Flashback, we got Flashback on here. I used to play this on the Sega Genesis. But yeah, that's a pretty cool futuristic platforming game. Now we got Mutant Apocalypse for X-Men. You know, this game is absolutely fantastic. I think this craps over all over the Sega. I guess you could say Marvel games, X-Men games, whatever. But the thing is, the difficulty on this one is ridiculous. And even if you do manage to struggle to get through the end, like the Magneto at the end of this game is like one of the most traumatizing 16-bit bosses ever. I mean, tell me how you beat him. I don't know. But a good Marvel game. Shadowrun. Bro. I don't mean to stop the videos so much, but just so many videos here. Isometric Shadowrunning game. You know, cyberdecking, you know, futuristic gangster game. This is fantastic. I mean, it's a quick video. I can't explain enough how much I love this game. The Shadowrun games that came out on Steam and on PlayStation, all that, are kind of based off this ecosystem. We got Soul Blazer. Oh, I don't know this one. You're gonna have to tell me about Soul Blazer. I've not got any experience with that. Madden NFL. I own the Sega Genesis one. I absolutely love this game. Super Nintendo one looks like a nice coat of paint, actually. Illusion of Gaia. A lot of people talk fondly on this. Most of my RPGs were on Sega Genesis. Pocky and Rocky 2. So I've not played the second one. I've played the first one. So I can't judge this one too much. I love the gameplay, but seriously, I don't think they made this for 9-year-old Billy or 9-year-old Jemima, you know what I mean? This game just is really, really fun. I mean, really tough, I should say, after the first level. But, I mean, the mechanics are great. It's a cool shooter. We got Rock and Roll Racing. Sounds better and looks better on Super Nintendo. Prefer to play this on Sega Genesis. Great memory. Jungle Strike. The Strike games, you either love them or hate them. I hate them. But, I mean, if you're into the military stuff, it could be if you're populous. You know what? This seems... I think there was like 5,000 levels or something. Wasn't this advertised to have like 5,000 levels on the box? The other versions had hundreds. I think this one had thousands. And they added different themes. So this is like a world simulation game. I absolutely love it. Where you basically have to build a world and then conquer... Like, you're good and you have to conquer evil. You're basically playing God. You evolve you... And you can do disasters like earthquakes, volcanoes, things like that. But there's also different themes in this one. And aesthetics, like Three Little Pigs and all sorts of other ones. Different kingdoms, different sort of like archetypes, things like... It's really good. I mean, I can't go on about it forever, but I love Populous as a puzzle game. I've been playing this one for years. Out of This World, another flashback type experience with a different story, I guess. Really, really difficult, but so rewarding when you get the hang of that cinematic. Kirby's Avalanche. This looks like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine or Puyo Puyo for like a Super Nintendo reskin. Good puzzle game, match 3 style. Mega Man X3. I hear after the original X game they get really difficult. Lion King. Speaking of difficult games, I think this is a very, very good game that I just actually hate. But those Disney 16-bit games were relatively decent. Did they say this one was R-Type? And now International Superstar Soccer. Hey, this is a nice touch. I like that isometric graphic look of this. That looks like it could be a fun game. Fatal Fury 2. Yeah, I remember the Super Nintendo version of this being a pretty good port, actually. It's never going to look as good as the arcade version, but it's close and it ran well. And I think it featured pretty much all the levels, unlike the first game, which was missing a lot and had different bonus games too. So this was a big improvement. Pretty cool fighting game. Decent alternative to Street Fighter 2, this one. I could live with this pit. Joe Higashi's the man. Now we got Kirby's Dream Land 3. Oh man, like I like Nightmare in Dreamland on Game Boy Advance, but hey, respect for Kirby. Kirby's always a good time. Joe and Mac. This is Joe and Mac 2 this time. Okay. Platformer, caveman platformer. We got Aladdin. I mean, for me, guys, it's always going to be about the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin. I mean, he's got a sword. It's totally alpha. Aladdin, who only throws apples, is kind of beta Brad, if you know what I'm saying. I'm only playing, by the way. Don't think I'm so alpha and beta. But, Yeah, look, it's okay. I mean, I do like this game, but I think the Genesis version craps all over it. Do I think this deserves to be in the top 100? I guess so. Maybe would have put it lower, but that's fine. Now we got NHL Hockey 94. Yeah, bro, like, no matter whether you played this on Sega or Super Nintendo, this is a top 100 game. It's a great game of hockey. Diddy Kong 3. I'm going to assume that they're going to put all Donkey Kong Country games on this list. Earthworm Jim. Oh man, I really don't like Earthworm Jim. I think this game, for the most part, is balls. If I'm going to be fair and objective, look, it's an average or an above average platformer experience with hybrid elements, okay? But the thing is, this is just one of those games that everyone remembers more fondly with rose-colored glasses because Earthworm Jim's cartoony, he's a cool-looking mascot, and it's all about marketing, baby. I don't really think this game is that great, to be honest. But hey, I mean, you let me know in the chat. It's fine. What do we got? Alien 3. Oh yeah, I mean, considering Alien 3 only had one alien, this one had multiple aliens, and I think that's balls. Okay, Axlay. Axlay is kind of like a modern reimagining, I think, of Gyrus, which was kind of like a unique looking style shooter from like about 1983 or 1984. This game is really, really cool to look at and fun to play, to be fair, when you're not blowing up every 5 seconds. I mean, you have to be an expert shooter fan to play this one. Certainly a good game. I probably wouldn't have put it in my top 100 list, but respect, Konami, no worries. Puzzle Bobble Buster Move. You know, I mainly remember these fondly from the arcade, but this puzzle game is pretty fun. Super Nintendo port was decent. Breath of Fire. RPG fans like the series. I never got into this one myself personally. And Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run. I do remember a Ken Griffey Jr. game on Super Nintendo being really fun because you had that all-star like home run derby challenge. I don't think it was this version. I think it was the other one. But if the other one's fun, I don't see why this one wouldn't be as well. It looks like a cool baseball game. Super Goals and Ghosts. Oh, jeez. I mean, you could argue that this would be higher, but I guess it depends on your taste. But a brutal but fun platformer. Yoshi's Cookie. Never learned how to play Yoshi's Cookie. And another Bomberman game, Super Bomberman. So far, this list, I think, is pretty fair enough. I mean, these lists are always going to be subjective unless you're literally doing your research and doing some kind of mathematics. I'm not angry with any of these picks at all, even though I don't agree with them. Let me know how you think the list is going so far. I hope they don't go too Super Bomberman crazy, though. I think one Bomberman game will suffice. I think Zombies, or Zombies Ate My Neighbors, as it's called, depending on the region. Yeah, Run and Gunner, puzzle elements, fun game. Another Kirby one here. There was lots of Kirby games on Super Nintendo. They felt more like mini-games, a lot of them. Oh, Harvest Moon. I think this port was also on the Game Boy Color. I would say that this Harvest Moon was less is more, and it didn't have the features and the depth of later Harvest Moon games, but I just love how easy this was to pick up and play and follow immediately, because there just wasn't too much going on. As good as games like Stardew Valley and a few other ones are, you can get overwhelmed with the choice from the start. This one simplifies everything, being that's pretty much one of the earliest Harvest Moon games. Definitely worth a shot. I feel like this one's still fun to play today if you're just looking for a time killer. Gradius 3, I'm surprised compared to the first one how much more accessible this one is. I'm usually terrible at bullet hell games, but Gradius was fun. Now, Demon's Crest here is a spin-off of Super Ghosts and Goblins, and a good one. Fine to play, very tough as well, just like the other franchise. What's this, Breath of Fire? Evo Search for You. Now, this is a really unique game, where you go around eating things, like other creatures and organisms, things like that, collecting food, and you could evolve, like... It's cool, it's like an evolutionary action game, and it's very hard to explain how it works on top of that. But I would recommend everyone try this one at least once. It's very unique and unlike anything else that was out at the time. This is cool. Now what do we got? Ogre Battle, the March of the Black Queen. Ah, they've got like a modern reimagining of this, or Ogre Battle 2 on Steam, I think. I've seen it, right. Strategy game. Earthworm Jim 2. You know what, to be fair, I can't judge Earthworm Jim 2 because I haven't played that, only the first one. Maybe it's better. Now, I'm surprised Turtles in Time is this low down. When it comes to playing Super Nintendo games, it's pretty an overwhelming agreement that this is like a top 20 Super Nintendo game. Everyone's like, Turtles in Time, Turtles in Time, Turtles in Time, Turtles in Time. Bro, everyone back at this time period still had green fever. The Turtles was what was up. And this is one of the more fun Turtles games to play. Traveling in time is a blast. It's kooky adventure. Yeah. This is where it was at with beat-em-ups on the Super Nintendo. Kirby's Dream Course I don't really have any experience with. Not really a big fan of the isometric puzzle games though. UN Squadron. I mean, I guess it's up to you whether you want to play the shooter on Super Nintendo or in the arcade, but it's a great effort from Capcom. Yeah, I'm glad NBA Jam's relatively high on the list. Super Nintendo version had great presentation. I hate that you had to put in a password. I'm so happy that SimCity is on this list. Most of my memories from playing SimCity in my earlier years were on the Amiga or on the PC. And I didn't really appreciate it at the time. But the fact that they added like an assistant in this game and kind of gave this a story and a sense of advancement and like a mascot, it kind of really added to the immersion. And now that I look back at this Super Nintendo version now, I really like appreciate this as being like the main version of Sin City without better use of a term, if that makes sense. Because this has got all the bells and whistles in the original one, and it's fantastic. Definitive version, I should say. That's what happens when you do these in one take, hey? Luffy, another RPG franchise. See, when I was playing RPGs, it was on Sega, you know? We got Metal Warrior. Okay, well, we got a few here that I don't know. It reminds me of that Metal Storm or whatever on NES. A Legend of the Mystical Ninja. I have played this, but not to completion. And Mega Man X2. See, I like the vanilla Mega Man series, but once you have to start dashing and wall jumping, it's game over for me. We got the Lost Viking. See, this is when Blizzard was in the early console market before Diablo. If you like puzzle platformers, that might be for you. Wario's Woods. See, this is another game I need to learn how to play. It looks like another match 3. And Donkey Kong Country. Look, this is the only Donkey Kong Country that I've sunk my teeth into for a long amount of time. And I just, you know, these days now that I'm a grown-ass adult like all you guys with responsibilities, games like this really stress me out. But when I'm calm and I feel like a challenge, this platforming game here in particular is still pretty rewarding, apart from the minecart level. Freaking hate that. But unlike some of the other Donkey Kong Country games that have levels that are confusing and hard to follow, I love that despite this difficulty, it was pretty linear and straightforward, and you at least knew what was up. So out of all the Donkey Kong Country games, I preferred to play this one personally. I'm glad it's high up on the list. And what a technical feat too, wonderful looking game. We've got Tetris and Dr. Mario. I like these hybrid puzzle games. And now I've got the Tetris and Puyo Puyo ones today. Now we've got Return of the Jedi. Bro, I can't even pass a level in this one. So I find it interesting, out of all the 3 Star Wars games, they pick Return of the Jedi as the best one. I mean, hey, if that's your subjective opinion, fine. I mean, you must be a good gamer if you can pass a level in that some-ish. Mortal Kombat 2 is pretty fun on the Super Nintendo. I would actually argue it's a bit more accessible than the Sega Genesis version. Probably the best Mortal Kombat game on Super Nintendo. And we got Super Contra here. This game is hard as balls. That's for the experts, man. If you're into your running and gunning, that's for you. Well, these Mickey Mouse games I always found really tough on Super Nintendo as well. And why is the jumping so floaty? Now it's interesting that they put Mario Paint so high up in this. But, I mean, hey, it was cool to be able to draw on your computer. I mean, there wasn't really a way to print anything out, I don't think, unless there was an accessory. But I like that they added, like, a Fly Swatter game, which was kind of cool. They used to play that on Amazing, I think, a kids' game show on Australian TV. I'm not going to digress too much, but I don't really know what other programs you could usually really use the mouse with on Super Nintendo. I just felt like this was a cool gimmick, but didn't really have any practical use for your everyday life. I wonder how many of these they sold. The Music Maker was pretty sweet though, nice little gimmick as well, I forgot about that. Super Castlevania. Jeez, I would have thought this would be pretty close to the top 10, but I mean, considering this game came out in 1990, it was very special. Love Castlevania, guys. Great platforming adventure. We got Mario All-Stars. It was a good package. ActRaiser. I would really like to dive in and learn how to play ActRaiser properly one day. It's kind of got like Rasted style action platforming where you go around barbarian style, killing enemies, bosses, things like that. And you've also got like your city management as well. So I loved how they were really adventurous with this and had like a hybrid of gameplay elements. That's why they saw fit to re-release these. Yeah. Alright, ActRaiser. I mean, I thought this was a little bit more of a cult classic game, but probably deserves to be on the list. F-Zero, I mean, dude. Don't forget, this came out in 1990, guys. Games didn't look that good from a racing sense in 1990. That was way ahead of its time. Super Punch-Out, continuing on from the success of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, follows the arcade version more. Great game. Diddy Kong, I didn't like Donkey Kong Country 2. It wasn't me. Got way too confused in that game. Now this, you know what, when it comes to puzzles games, honestly, on Super Nintendo, Tetris Attack, this is probably it for me. The graphics are just vibrant and charming, just like the music. And the gameplay is just so addictive, and it's a nice little fresh take on the Match 3 genre. For me, this is the puzzle experience you should be playing on Super Nintendo. A worthy contender for Top 100. Now we got Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy IV World. Apparently this has got a really fan-favorite popular storyline, Earthbound. I mean, yeah, look, people either love or hate Earthbound. Honestly, with the whole Earthbound thing, I don't get it myself. Maybe I'm just going to have to, like, take a break and have one more chance at this and see if I connect with it. I just don't get it. I don't know why it's so popular. Can you explain to me why you like Earthbound in the chat? Alright, Mega Man X. This is probably the most accessible, I guess you could say, Mega Man X game. I'd probably say that because it's the only one I beat. Secret of Mana, I mean, when it comes to RPGs, this is certainly one of 5 that people talk most fondly about on Super Nintendo, and so is this, the Super Mario RPG. This is a wonderful game too. I'm glad Squaresoft got their hands all over it. Star Fox, you know what? This is one of those rose-colored glasses games. I can understand why people would still like Star Fox 64 now, because the frame rate is great and the gameplay is still fun. But when it comes to the original, this was a great technical feat at the time, being an early polygon game and being on Super Nintendo for that matter. Quite the achievement. But the fact that this runs at like 5 frames a second, that's a no from me. There's too much rose-colored glasses on this pick, I think. Super Mario Kart deserves, obviously, to be this high up. I mean, obviously, they've refined the graphics and the gameplay on this. It's a lot better these days, but that's where it all began, man. Nah, you know what? Fuck off with Yoshi's Island, or whatever it is. Super Mario Land 2. I'm sure it's probably a good game if you got the patience with it, but every time you lose Mario, you hear this every 2 seconds. And apparently there is a mod where you can get rid of that little mother... So if I could find that mod, I might give this game another chance. But I'm sorry, I don't want to hear Mario crying for hours. This game can get banned. Now we got Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I mean, there's so many different versions of this. You could pick, you may as well pick one, and that's it, I guess. And not much else I need to add. Street Fighter 2 Turbo is great. Super Mario World, I mean, what an amazing experience and step up for Mario 3. Final Fantasy VI. Now, the interesting thing is I played Final Fantasy VI on PlayStation, which came with the intro cutscene and everything. I don't think there was too much difference on that version apart from that, but look, essentially it was the same game. What a wonderful, like, story with plot twists and characters that were easy to connect to. I've kind of moved on from, like, the text-based JRPGs now. I need to have voice acting and cinematics. But if there was ever, like, a text sort of like JRPG I ever played again, it would be this one. Because despite it just being text boxes, I really connected with everything that was going on back in the day. And this was a wonderful experience. And had those dark Final Fantasy tones that really made the franchise great. Super Metroid, bro, I mean, I don't really need to mention how good this game is. I wish I could beat it. but it's certainly a wonderful step up from the original. And like, we got Chrono Trigger now. I knew this was going to be pretty high to being first, and then now we got Zelda: A Link to the Past, and it looks like they picked this for number 1. Well, you know what? I think in the top 5, they had Mario World. What they have? Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Legend. Look, you know what? I think at least the top of the list was pretty accurate, to be honest. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.